So picture this. A young girl, barely 10 years old, in Washington, D.C., captivated by the night sky. She's not just gazing at the stars, she's mapping them, charting constellations from her bedroom window. That girl was Vera Rubin, and that early fascination, so intense that her dad helped her build her own telescope, speaks volumes, doesn't it? It really foreshadows the incredible scientist she'd become.
Absolutely. I mean, talk about early signs of a curious mind. And, that image of her mapping the stars as a kid really sets the stage for a life dedicated to unraveling the mysteries of the universe.
Right. And today we're diving deep into the life and work of Vera Rubin, this pioneering astronomer who didn't just make groundbreaking discoveries about the cosmos, but also relentlessly challenged the status quo of the scientific community itself.
She really did. And our sources for this deep dive offer a rich tapestry of her journey, from biographical details to accounts of her scientific breakthroughs and her unwavering advocacy for women in science. We're looking at her legacy on both those fronts, her contributions to our understanding of the universe, and her fight for equality in a field that, for far too long, was anything but welcoming to women.
And it's important to remember that as much as she accomplished, her path was paved with obstacles right from the start. Even with that early spark of passion, she faced a lot of pushback, didn't she?
Oh, absolutely. One story that really struck me from the sources is about an interview she had at Bryn Mawr College. She was asked point blank if she'd considered painting astronomical objects instead. Can you imagine?
Wow, that's just astounding. Not even, have you considered studying art? But literally painting the objects, like it's some kind of decorative hobby.
Exactly. It was a clear attempt to steer her away from serious scientific inquiry, as if the idea of a woman deeply engaged in astrophysics was just inconceivable. This speaks to the deeply entrenched societal biases she was up against, the prevailing thought at the time that science was a man's domain.
It's a stark reminder of how far we've come, but also how much work there still is to do, isn't it?
For sure. But to her credit, she didn't let these kinds of dismissive attitudes deter her. She persisted, and she ended up at Vassar College, which back then was one of the few places where women could actually pursue a degree in astronomy.
It's kind of hard to wrap our heads around that now, isn't it? That such a fundamental field of study was so limited in terms of who could even participate.
It really is. And even at Vassar, it wasn't easy. I mean, she faced financial challenges, and there was this constant undercurrent of doubt, that societal pressure questioning whether a woman truly belonged in such a rigorous field. But she persevered, and get this, she graduated as the only astronomy major in her entire class.
That's remarkable. That kind of resilience that early on really speaks volumes about her character.
No doubt. But, her challenges didn't end there. She set her sights on Princeton for graduate studies. But guess what? Their astronomy program, at the time, didn't admit women at all.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Wow, talk about a door slammed shut. It's infuriating.
It really is. And this wasn't some isolated incident. This was the norm. It reflected a systemic barrier that countless talented women faced, a culture that actively sought to exclude them from the upper echelons of science.
It's incredible that anyone could persevere in the face of such blatant discrimination. But one thing that really stands out about Vera Rubin is that she didn't just overcome these barriers for herself. She became a vocal advocate for change, a champion for other women in science.
Absolutely. And one powerful example of that is her refusal to be sidelined, even after becoming a mother. Just 3 weeks after giving birth to her first child, she presented groundbreaking research on galaxy clustering.
Talk about dedication. 3 weeks postpartum. And she's not letting anything stop her from sharing her findings.
Yeah, it's truly inspiring. And what's even more amazing is that she insisted on presenting the work herself. Her advisor, perhaps well-meaning but reflecting the norms of the time, offered to present it for her. But she was having none of it. She traveled with her newborn and her parents, through snowy conditions no less, to deliver that presentation herself.
That's such a powerful image, right? Her refusing to be defined by motherhood, by those traditional expectations. It's like she was sending a clear message. I'm a scientist, and I will not be silenced.
Absolutely. And it wasn't a one-off thing. She went on to raise 4 children while conducting groundbreaking research. And get this, all 4 of them ended up earning PhDs.
Wow. That speaks volumes not only about her dedication, but also about the kind of intellectually stimulating environment she fostered at home.
It really does. She managed to seamlessly weave together her personal and professional life, proving that groundbreaking scientific inquiry and motherhood weren't mutually exclusive. She really set a powerful precedent.
And speaking of groundbreaking, let's talk about the research that truly cemented her legacy. the work that revolutionized our understanding of the universe. In the 1970s, she teamed up with Kent Ford to study galaxy rotation curves. Can you break down what they were looking at and what they discovered that was so, well, revolutionary?
Of course. So they were using these amazing new instruments called spectrometers. Think of them as super-sensitive tools that could precisely measure the speed of light coming from stars. Specifically, they were looking at how fast stars were orbiting around the center of their galaxies at different distances. Now, the prevailing theory, based on good old Newtonian physics, was that stars farther out from the center should be moving slower because the gravitational pull would be weaker, right? Like planets in our solar system.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah. The farther you are from the sun, the weaker its gravitational pull, so the slower the planet's orbit.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Their observations showed something totally unexpected. The stars at the edges of galaxies were moving just as fast as the stars closer to the center. It was like they were defying the laws of gravity.
Wow, so the galaxies were spinning way faster than they should have been, based on the visible matter, like stars and gas.
Yeah.
There had to be something else, right? Something we couldn't see that was contributing to the gravitational pull.
Precisely. And that's where the concept of dark matter comes in. You see, Rubin and Ford's work provided the most convincing evidence yet for the existence of this mysterious, invisible stuff that makes up the vast majority of the mass in the universe. It's like the universe's hidden scaffolding, holding everything together.
It's mind-boggling, isn't it? I mean, all the stars and galaxies we can see, all that dazzling stuff, turns out to be just a tiny fraction of what's really out there.
I know, right? And it was Vera Rubin who really brought this idea of dark matter into the mainstream of astrophysics. Though it was first proposed decades earlier by Fritz Zwicky, his ideas hadn't really taken hold. But Rubin's meticulous observations and analysis, her rigorous approach, really changed the game.
It's incredible to think about the impact of that one discovery, how it reshaped our entire understanding of the universe.
It really did. And her legacy extends far beyond dark matter. She was a fierce advocate for women in science, working tirelessly to dismantle the barriers she had faced and create a more inclusive environment for future generations.
And it's worth highlighting that her fight for equality wasn't separate from her scientific work. It was deeply intertwined with it.
Absolutely. Her experiences with discrimination fueled her determination to make science a more welcoming and equitable field. And one of her personal milestones also underscores the systemic bias she was up against, becoming the first woman allowed to observe under her own name at the Palomar Observatory.
It's 1965, and she's the first woman to be granted this basic right at a leading observatory. It's shocking and inspiring at the same time.
It really highlights how ingrained the exclusion of women was. And she didn't stop there. She actively challenged sexist language in scientific publications and pushed for greater representation of women in leadership positions within astronomical organizations. She understood that it wasn't enough to break down barriers for herself. Systemic change was essential.
She was a real trailblazer.
Yeah.
And, one anecdote that really illustrates her unwavering commitment to her principles is her declining a meeting with the Pope.
Oh, right. She refused the invitation because of her opposition to the Catholic Church's stance on birth control. It shows that she was willing to stand up for her beliefs, even when it meant potentially missing out on a prestigious opportunity.
That speaks volumes about her integrity. And then there's that powerful quote of hers, "Half of all brains are in women." It's so simple, yet so profound.
It's a stark reminder that excluding women from any field, especially science, is not just unfair, it's downright foolish. We're cutting ourselves off from half the potential brain power out there.
And beyond her public advocacy, she was known for mentoring countless young scientists. That personal investment in the next generation is such a crucial part of her legacy.
It really is. She understood the importance of creating a supportive and inclusive environment for young scientists, particularly women, to thrive.
It's truly inspiring to see the ripple effect of her work and her advocacy. But it's also concerning to read about some recent attempts to downplay her fight for diversity and inclusion, even by institutions named in her honor.
Yeah, there have been reports of biographies being revised to minimize or even erase her efforts to promote the inclusion of women and underrepresented groups. It's like they want to present a sanitized version of her, focused solely on her scientific achievements while ignoring her equally important work in challenging the status quo.
It's disturbing, isn't it? Trying to erase that part of her story feels like a real disservice to her legacy.
Thankfully, this kind of revisionism has been met with pushback from the scientific community. Several prominent astronomers have spoken out, emphasizing that they're more determined than ever to uphold her full legacy, both her scientific brilliance and her unwavering advocacy.
It's good to hear that there's resistance to this kind of historical whitewashing. Because as you said, those two aspects of her life, her scientific work and her activism, were so intertwined.
Absolutely. And I think that's a powerful lesson for all of us. The pursuit of knowledge and the pursuit of justice aren't separate endeavors. They can and should inform and strengthen each other.
And speaking of lessons, the source material for this deep dive leaves us with some really thought-provoking questions.
Yeah.
It asks, what invisible forces hold you back? Is it fear, doubt, the weight of societal expectations?
Those questions really resonate, don't they? It's like a direct parallel to the dark matter that Vera Rubin spent her life studying, something unseen yet profoundly influential.
Exactly. And when we apply those questions to our own lives, to our communities, it makes you think about the hidden barriers, the unconscious biases that might be holding us back, limiting our potential without us even realizing it.
Right. And just like dark matter shapes the universe, these unseen forces can shape our society, often in ways that perpetuate inequality and hinder progress.
So, as we reflect on Vera Rubin's life, her relentless pursuit of knowledge, her courage in challenging the status quo,
It's a call to action, isn't it?
it is. It's about recognizing those invisible forces, those dark matter biases, and having the courage to challenge them, both within ourselves and in the systems around us.
Her story shows us that it's possible to break down barriers, to overcome obstacles with enough persistence and determination. And it underscores the crucial importance of inclusivity, that diversity of thought and experience, to truly advance any field. Couldn't agree more. And the source material ends with another powerful question that I think is worth sitting with for a moment. Look up at the stars tonight and ask yourself, what mysteries remain unsolved because someone has been told they don't belong? What brilliance has been lost because doors were closed too soon?
It's a question that should haunt us, challenge us, inspire us, because it highlights the immense cost of exclusion, of not allowing everyone the opportunity to contribute their talents, to share their unique perspectives.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, what incredible breakthroughs, what world-changing discoveries might we be missing out on simply because we haven't created a truly equitable and inclusive society?
Right. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the remarkable life and work of Vera Rubin, let's carry her legacy with us. Let's be inspired by her unwavering curiosity, her courage to challenge the status quo, her dedication to making science a more welcoming place for everyone. Let's all strive to create a world where every mind, regardless of gender, background, or any other arbitrary distinction, has the chance to shine brightly.
Well said. And to recap, we've explored how Vera Rubin's groundbreaking research led to the discovery of dark matter, this unseen force that dominates the universe. And we've also delved into her tireless advocacy for women in science, her efforts to dismantle the systemic barriers that she and countless others faced.
And for our listeners, as a final thought to carry with you, consider this. What are the unseen dark matter biases that might be operating in your own field, in your community, in your own life? And how can you, inspired by Vera Rubin's example, work to challenge those biases and create a more inclusive and equitable world?
It's a question worth pondering, and one that I hope will spark continued conversation and action long after this deep dive has ended. Thanks for joining us.